Well, hey, everyone. Welcome to the Blue Gamer Bluecast Morning Show. I'm your host, Adam Blue 30 Plus, your video game enthusiast and industry analyst. And today, for November 24th, 2025, we'll run through the latest gaming news, what I've been playing, etc., etc. Yeah, and today's a later show than normal. Usually I do 8 a.m. Central, but I wanted just to test out a 9:30 a.m. Central. I'm just trying a bunch of things. I still want to do the morning show, but I don't know if maybe there's better time for more people, or maybe I don't like that there's more people, and then I prefer, I don't know, just ever evolving, talking about games. That's kind of the main thing here. Anyway, that song I played was an awesome song I heard in the game Remnant 2. I played the first one, didn't really care about it. The second one's actually really good, and I think I think I brought this up before on the show. When Remnant 2 first came out, all the reviews kept talking about it like it's a Souls-like, it's a Souls-like. And so I was Soulsed out, so I just didn't bother with it. And then I played it, and it's like, this isn't a Souls-like, actually. This is a third-person Destiny style game, looter shooter. So I thought it was kind of weird that it was marketed that way. This happens a lot in the video game industry. And I don't know how much it is that the industry is reliant on X, but you get one person to say the first thing loud enough, and if it picks up, then everyone assumes that is the reality. And that an example, with Pal World, when people say, "Oh, it's all AI art," and it wasn't, with Remnant, people saying, "Oh, it's a Souls like," and it's not, and so that kind of led to people either not buying it or picking it up, and then it being something else. But that's what I'm here for. I'm here to filter the noise out and get you guys the truth. I don't know. But anyway, let's get to this. Yeah, let's get to this, because this weekend was a lot of fun. So, I ended the show, but last week, was it the 21st, playing that SpongeBob demo that I really enjoyed. Okay. It's this new game called SpongeBob SquarePants Titans of the Tide. I've never played any of SpongeBob games in general, just because, one, like, I've never really been into SpongeBob. It became popular for my little brother. Like, once I was out of that stuff, and then all my kids. But within that, there's never been, like, I'd watch the show, I'd watch the movie, and it's funny stuff. But I never bothered playing with a game, just because I wasn't into SpongeBob like that. But anyway, this game plays really good. I even played the demo on the Xbox to show my wife, and then she was running around in it too. It's a lot of fun, actually. Really well made. A lot of cool quirkiness going on, so I'll have to get back into that. And then played some R-Type Delta HD Boosted some more. I did play it on the stream, but playing it some more over the weekend. So here's something that's really cool. I've talked about this a lot on the show, where I use my ROG Ally, the PC handheld, hooked up to my TV in the living room. That way I can play games off the ROG Ally, or even stream off the ROG Ally. But after some time, I was like, you know what? I'd rather have the ROG Ally and I do now. It's on my desk. Where I just pick it up and play, and not really worry about it being my TV display. And I kind of got this idea from the Steam machine coming out, because it's like, well, you could just make a Steam Deck and hook it up, but I guess a Steam machine could technically be cheaper if it doesn't have the screen. So anyway, I was thinking, well, I have an Apple TV 4K that I just plugged into my living room to play the Castlevania Grimoire of Souls. That's really the only reason I have that machine. And I forgot that I had another program on there called Moonlight. Okay, so Moonlight is a program that allows you to stream from your PC to a different device, one being the Apple TV 4K. So my Apple TV 4K is wired through the internet. It's only that version that does it, into the router, the same router that has my desktop PC wired to the internet. And so with Moonlight, I'm able to either ask it just to launch my desktop, so I just have full use of my computer, or just launch Steam Big Picture, which is amazing, because then it does the controller version of the UI for Steam. So think about this. I'm in my Apple TV 4K, click on Moonlight, and you can use the controller on the Apple TV 4K. So let's back up for a second. So using the controller on the Apple TV 4K, I'm then saying Moonlight, and then I'm choosing Steam Big Picture, and then it pops up, and it's flawless. So the reason I'm bringing it up right now is because one of the games I was playing is the R-Type Delta HD Boosted. So you got to think about a shmup that is being streamed over a network. and then the latency of a controller too, a Bluetooth controller going into the Apple TV 4K to then, but it works. It works. I don't have to worry about any lag or anything. In fact, it feels better than when I would plug my Switch into my Elgato Camlink 4K on my PC. I think I talked about that earlier. So, oh hey Steven, what's up? Moonlight is the framework Lola PC is built on. So then that makes sense of why Lola PC would work so well, because Moonlight is just uh, it's instant, it's fast. So cool. Well, cool. Glad to see you, Steven. And then also Ultronus JMKLX Jones, just because of this later time, I didn't know what to expect. But again, I'm going to be playing around some other times, maybe this week. But to move on, so that was R-Type Delta HD Boosted, which is pretty tough. I haven't beat it yet. And in fact, there's an article that went up just saying that the R-Type Delta that just got released is actually harder than the original versions because they fixed some slowdown, but then it causes some speed up later on in some different levels. So that's interesting. I mean, I originally played it on PS1, but it was so long ago, I don't remember difficulty differences. Okay. Bound by Flame. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this game. I know I have, because I don't know what it was, but I would just always see this mark. I mean, this, for some reason, this logo artwork, it's ingrained in my mind. I don't know if it was like pushed a whole lot back in the day. It says it came out in 2014. So yeah, I don't know if it was pushed a lot and I just forgot. But I gotta say, this game is actually pretty impressive. So I put 42 minutes into it, and it was like the opening where you make your character and then you have to walk to some people. There was story. I skipped it. But then when you get into the combat, it's like, okay, this combat's very slow, deliberate. There's the block. But I like how open-ended it is, because for how much it's saying, okay, to block this, or you can upgrade that you can block and parry like behind and to the side. But also, because it's a real-time combat game and you have freedom of movement, you can position yourself. So let's say an enemy's coming at you with an attack. You could be just as quick just to kind of circle strafe out of the way of that to attack. Whereas I don't think many games do this, because a lot of times in an action game, you have the enemy action might be like super wide or have a lot more frames of contact. You don't get this a lot. Sometimes it feels physics-y. I guess that's a word to put it. So yeah, when I'm playing Bound by Flame and they're teaching you to block right at the right time or to hit the shield, because the game is real-time combat and is very physicsy, I can do that, or I can just move in the world at will as quickly as I want. So what I'm trying to get at is, it has at its essence like the type of gameplay that I like out of 3D action combat, where I can make moves with my character very deliberately and intentionally that really adds to me being a part of that action. And I'm not saying it's perfect. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say it's very open-ended in that way. And actually saying it's not perfect doesn't really matter. It's a fun system. The other parts of it are, I haven't played too much more. That could be good or bad for what I'm trying to say, because so far it's been mainly action, and I've enjoyed that. There's been a couple little fetchy things where it's like, go over here and find a rock. Yeah, I had to find a rock for someone. But generally, it's been action, and I think I'm gonna have fun. I like the leveling up I saw. For some of the skills you can level or unlock, it's to, like I was talking about earlier, to auto parry to the side or the back. So if I am surrounded by enemies, even though I could move on my own, from what I've learned, I like that the game has a lot of built-in systems for combat. So another thing I wanted to add too, because this is on a Black Friday sale for 99 cents on the Xbox store. That's why I picked it up. I've had it on my favorites list for wish list, because I don't know what the game is, but it just looks cool. But 99 cents, I couldn't pass that up, so I grabbed that. Ultron was saying Devil May Cry, Ace 3, and Soul Calibur are only times I can think of to do a circular dodge. Okay, Devil May Cry, Ace 3 haven't played, but I believe you on that. And then Soul Calibur is like another one where you do that positioning. Yeah, some, like, I feel like some Souls enemies. Once you've memorized the Souls enemies, sometimes it's like, oh, I know he's going to do that attack. Instead of worrying about doing my moves, I'm just going to go around and hit him. Yeah, interesting stuff. I love talking about gameplay to this level. Okay. Now I played some more Predator Hunting Grounds because I'm still on that Predator kick after seeing that movie, and just enjoying my time with it. It really just tells me how much I feel like I like Predator Hunting Grounds. It could use another level of polish over its mechanics. Like I'm now, I appreciate and I am, what do I call it? I enjoy its atmosphere to make it feel like I am part of the Predator universe. It nails that. So I'm glad that's there. And maybe that's what the priority had to be. And that's why maybe the gameplay mechanics themselves are a little, um, and I don't want to say bad. It's just more of it's that double A. It's the more of the thing you get from a Dead by Daylight than a Resident Evil, right? But I do think with the IP, and as much as Predator Hunting Grounds is good, and this reminds me of the Evil Dead game. It's like they give us these multiplayers where we have kind of this place where you can explore and then be Ash or be the Predator. But then it's a multiplayer, so it's limited by the other characters and what people are doing and a time constraint. I would love a new Predator game, an Evil Dead game, where you could take your time in the world, really feel like you're a part of the world and not worry about constraints of other players, multiplayer. And I love in Predator Hunting Grounds too, that like I can be the wolf predator. It's like the certain predators from the certain movies, and they have the DLC available. If you don't care, you don't have to buy it. But I really like that they're doing that. So that's about it. This is still a fun game to jump into every once in a while. It reminds me of what I'm doing with Godzilla, right? Like I want to complete everything in the Godzilla PS4 game. It's just very grindy. It's going to take a long time. So I just jump in and out every once in a while just to get my fill of Godzilla, like I'm getting my fill of Predator. And then I feel bad because I just bought that Alien Rogue Incursion a few weeks ago. And I haven't even been playing that much, but it's pretty good. So, Ultramar's to Predator Hunting Grounds defense, it was one of the older asymmetrical games before people started really wanting single-player bits. Yeah, exactly. I do remember that. That came out at a time where that was just kind of working, so then companies are throwing that out there. And so that just tells me that there is potential to come back. There has to be, especially with the Badlands, Predator Badlands kind of being very successful. And it's pretty cool because in Predator Hunting Grounds, they do have characters from the Killer of Killers, from what I understand. Oh, when I was Wolf Predator using his chain whip or tail spiked whip to like grab an enemy, pull him close, it's pretty fun. All right, Neon Inferno, the game that dropped last week, right? It dropped last week. So I beat it. So 2 hours, 7 minutes for playing through for the first time. That's how long it took to beat. You could probably do it so much quicker. It's just that there are plenty of times where I've died and you have to start whole levels over again. Sometimes there's checkpoints, but I think even the last boss in the last level, if I remember correctly, you have to start from the beginning of the level in order to then get to and there's like 3 bosses at the end. So I think I spent most of my time near the end of the game memorizing, okay, it's one of those games, it really is, where it's, okay, this is what's happening. Now, again, I was playing on like novice or easy, whatever they called it, where you have a lot of health. Now, I've been able to beat levels without getting hit or only getting hit once. No, I think I did get an achievement for beating a level without getting hit. Let me see. Use the dodge 75 times. I could have used the dodge more. Deflect under bullets, kill. Yeah, here's one. Kill all NYPD snipers in the flooded safe house before they get a chance to fire. I wasn't even trying to do that, so that made me feel pretty good there. Let's see. Get to the game over screen 3 times in a row and select continue or new credit each time. I mean, who's not going to do that 3 times in a row? Okay, well. Anyway, so there's these other elements to this game. I haven't played the game or beat it with the second character, the girl, so I'll probably go through and do that just because it was a fun 2 hour and 7 minutes of going through amazing pixel art, amazing world building. Like, there's a cool story there, even though I tend to ignore the stories, but they do a good job because this isn't about playing a story, it's about playing a game, but picking up the story as it goes. Some other things too I saw when I was reading the credits is, they were like working with different organizations that were able to fund development. So I gotta say, from like a high level, you take this concept and a developer that is then okay, getting the people I need to do the animation, getting the funds I need to pay the people. Like from the top, whoever planned this game out did an excellent job of it from top to bottom being a 100% like even for the price, it's $15. I mean, I'd almost say this is a perfect game, just in terms of what it was set out to do and how it nailed it more than most games do. Like having a side-scrolling shooter where it has a new gimmick where you shoot behind you. We've seen games that are like that, where you shoot, wild guns, whatever other, is that what it's called? Other games that do that, Space Harriers and all that. But to be able to marry that, middle plane and the foreground and background, and then the dodge. There was just the right stuff to make this. Parrying bullets. I'm telling you, really well done game. I recommend it. I think anyone should buy this game. Put it on easy if you want to. Enjoy the pixel art, the music. Good stuff. Okay. Sonic Racing Crossworlds. This is a favorite of my wife and I. I think I was even playing. Was my daughter? Yeah, we did some 3-player. I think we even did 4-player. No, maybe it was just 3-player. But anyway, still playing Sonic Racing Crossworlds. I've literally beat the game where I got Supersonic, I got the end credits, etc. But they had the SpongeBob. Speaking of SpongeBob, I think it was the same day that game came out. They had DLC for this, and my wife and son really wanted it. And it's actually very fun playing as SpongeBob and Patrick. Because the characters have different stats. And so I was able to jump in and be them and have a lot of fun. And then they have their cars from the SpongeBob stuff. Again, I'm not too familiar with all that, but it adds a level of fun, and it has a SpongeBob stage. And so you get a new track to race on, and the event online for earning just random SpongeBob stickers and like their little battle pass. Like it's all there. Again, Sonic Racing Crossworlds could be game of the year. It's really well done. Very fun with the family and all that. All right, Castlevania Anniversary Collection. So I talked about this last week, right? Because I wanted to go through and beat, and maybe I did that Friday and didn't let you guys know. I forget. Because I went through and I beat the original because I wanted to get that achievement here, complete Castlevania. And I was talking about how that's very memorization heavy, which I feel like it's not that I don't like that anymore. I feel like when it comes to games, we've evolved out of memorization, and now it's about, there's still a degree of memorization, but it's of mechanics. It's more about interacting with mechanics rather than memorizing the jump up. You know what I mean? Like there's like this evolution of, I almost see it like technology, how people are born into high-end technology that in another generation, no one would be able to understand it. It's that kind of thing. It's like a universal consciousness evolution of gaming. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, so next up is Super Castlevania 4. I'm actually on the last level. It's a little bit of an easier game. And it's kind of like a remake, that came on SNES. I played it back in the day. I even beat it back in the day on the Super Nintendo and don't know. Okay, and I remember how, because it uses passwords. I was about to say, I don't know how. It uses a password system, so I was able to get back to the level I want to, because there are certain areas, and it's like that with all Castlevania games. Again, it's that memorization, the repeated of, like in Super Castlevania 4, there are the stages later on that have these green platforms. As soon as you land on the green platform, it spins and moves, so you fall. So what you have to do is, and this is how I was also able to prove the Moonlight latency was perfect. So when I'm playing it, it's like I press jump to go toward the green platform, and I press jump again, that I start pressing it right before he lands. So by the time he lands, I've pressed it so he can jump back off. I just find this interesting because I don't remember that being a pain in the ass when I was younger, but it had to have been. It was made for this. But I like that in modern times with Bluetooth over the Apple TV 4K that's streaming from my PC, I was able to not let latency be an issue, whether that's because there wasn't latency or I was able to, like when you play a game, the muscle memory, figure it out. So I find that very interesting. So, Let's see. I saw Killer of Killers was added as DLC. I imagine deck won't be too far off. I hope so. That would be cool. And then they have unique rival voice lines. You know what? So yeah, in the SpongeBob game or in the Sonic Crossworlds, I don't know about the voice lines. I didn't pay attention to that. I'm gonna have to check that out again. Okay, Total Chaos. I wanted to give it another shot. It's just not my type of game. It's a unique kind of survival horror, but very kind of basic. I don't know how to explain it. And it could just be this is made for a certain type of person, like that. If you just like horror games, like maybe that's all that's needed, and it exceeds at that. But for me, it's a little boring mechanically. And then I jumped into the Grinch Christmas Adventures, just to beat a level from that. Just to kind of whittle away at it. It's a very basic game. It's kind of fun, Christmas themed. So that was a lot that I did over the weekend. It was a good weekend of like not like all day playing games, but jumping into little games here and there. It was a lot of fun doing some multiplayer with the family. But you know what I really want to do now, since I've got that Moonlight working the way I want, get some Helldivers in. So PC to the living room, Helldivers. Yeah, I want to do some Helldivers multiplayer. All right. So what are we going to jump to next? I don't think there's that much in terms of news, and actually what we can do is, because I was looking this morning, you probably heard reports of like RAM shortages. I don't know what the issue is there with that. Doesn't really matter, but this is causing cost increases. I thought it was a GPU thing, but I guess it's more of a RAM thing. But I guess it makes sense because GPUs need RAM, so I think it kind of coincides. Yeah, but I was looking for some news, and there didn't. It's very interesting how the news is slow. It seems like the bigger thing right now is like big announcements, like for instance the Steam Machine stuff, and then we got Black Friday sales. So it's more about let's try to sell some stuff, and Thanksgiving weekend. More than like, oh, let's start announcing a bunch of things, because maybe it could get lost easily during this holiday time. Google's latest swing at Chromebook gaming is a free year of GeForce Now. That's actually pretty good. If the GeForce Now works just as good as any other streaming, which have I used it before? I think I used it, and I don't remember what I said. But that makes it good. Like, yeah, that's how you can get someone on a device, just like with Game Pass. It's like, buy this and you get access to games. Oh, here's something. Now, this is from last week, and I guess we can look at it since we're kind of talking about that stuff. Oh, gameplay trailer for Hellraiser. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I haven't looked at this much. Wow, that looks... So, are you fighting Cenobites, or are you a Cenobite? Really curious to see where they go. But it looks like, yeah, it's very story heavy and interesting. Hellraiser is one of those movies when I was a kid. I loved horror movies. I loved the Hellraisers. I remember watching them all. I want to say there was even that time travel, or it took place during, I don't know. I just remember they were actually pretty good up until like very recently. So, oh, you are human. Cool. You fight Cenobites and other freaky people. I'm really interested in see how that turns out. Yeah, because I feel like in general horror movies don't do it the same as they did, and I think it's the same thing with video games. It's like the fear, the horror is less about it's hard for me to be scared in normal in normal tropey fashion. Like I feel like it's with the movies, I'm not, the fear isn't a thing. Now it's like, oh, production design, portraying this heightened situation. And in video games, it's the same thing. Oh, what's the mechanics behind it? I think the horror element just adds a layer to it. Gameplay made me think of Outlast, but you can defend yourself. Yeah, okay, I played a little bit of Outlast. Actually, let's see how much. Because I remember playing that. That was a big deal when it came out. Let's see, I played an hour and 30 minutes on PS4. So I didn't do too much. Um, cool. Yeah, because a lot of times these horror games are really all about the atmosphere. And like as you're walking around and like taking in the atmosphere, especially when graphics can look as good as they can today. But for me, it's about the mechanics. So if I'm bored mechanically, that's kind of why I move on. All right, so check this out. Feed It Souls is a Game Boy Metroidvania that pokes fun at annoying techno feudalists. Okay, I don't know what that means, but check this out. Prolific Game Boy developer Gumpy Function has just announced the release of Feed It Souls Department of Martian Efficiency Edition, a Metroidvania for the Game Boy Color, which serves as a remake of his GB Compo 23 game. Oh, okay. Described by its creator as a title which satirizes Elon Musk and the techno-feudalists of the corporate world. The game's origin was inspired by Musk's purchase of social media platform Twitter back in 2023. You're the offspring of it, a biological monstrosity after only one thing, delicious souls. Reads the games, seek out and retrieve souls to feed your master's power is your power. Every soul retrieved will enhance your mobility as you explore. That's kind of similar to the stories of Castlevania, because Dracula has his minions to go kill people, get their souls. Costing just $5 and playable on original GBC hardware via emulation. Okay, so let's look at that. Very cool. Wow, I might do this. I like the idea that it's someone that made a game and it's not through Steam. They just have it on their website and you can buy it. That is cool. So I might want to check that out. You know, I like the idea of playing small little contained Metroidvanias. So, yeah, that'd be it. Okay. This next one. This is pretty cool. This is Wild Blue Skies. And this is another, like, you know, Star Fox. I mean, very Star Fox. Look at that. I want to say I got a game on Switch recently that was Star Fox like, and it just wasn't that great. And I've played a few that are, and that's the thing. We'll see these games that look like they play like older games. I'll play them and be like, nah, this is, and then that kind of gets me to not be interested. But there's a lot going on here. Let's see. Yeah, let's get into the gameplay. Flying around. So graphics look great. Oh, man, I love flying around, shooting things. Could be fun, but when I'm looking at it and it's like, okay, it looks good, but I'm not seeing like the gameplay. Like, okay, there's some shooting there. It's very, I mean, if it plays like Star Fox, that's going to be enough to get my attention. It's just, again, I've played some other games recently that are supposed to play like a Star Fox, and they don't. Which I think the issue here is Nintendo not really having another Star Fox. I think what's interesting is, what was it? There was another game recently that came out. Man, I really can't think of it, but I guess it's almost like even with Metroid. We got Metroid Prime 4 coming in December, but I don't know how much it's just Nintendo's like, okay, here's the next Metroid game. Or is it more, okay, we're going to revolutionize the Metroidvania genre? You know, like usually Nintendo's good about that. They'll come out with a game from a specific genre that will revolutionize. You would even say Mario Kart World, not Mario Kart World, Super Mario Wonder revolutionized side scroll. I mean, you could play Wonder and be like, wow, side scrollers can really step up their game. Donkey Kong Bonanza. After that, it's like, wow, 3D platformers can really step up their game. But it's not like you play Metroid Dread and you're like, oh, other Metroidvanias need. No, in fact, things like Hollow Knight are way more popular than Metroid Dread. And then you got Metroid Prime 4, which is like, okay, that's just, you know, their first person take on it. Is it going to revolutionize first person? Because first person games in general have kind of fallen flat. So it's like there's opportunity for Nintendo to revolutionize, but I don't think they do with those IPs. Same with Star Fox. It's like you could totally have Star Fox come out where it has the live action puppets for the story. People would love that, and then go into classic gameplay. Autonomous and Jam Kill X, exactly, F-Zero, which they came out with so many racing games this year, so maybe next year. And Jonas, how is Netflix going for you? I don't know. I actually don't have Netflix. I haven't used it. Okay. So I think that's about it, guys. That was really fun just to talk about what I had played over the weekend because it was quite a bit. And I think some of the biggest takeaways from this is that streaming with Moonlight, the fact that I can stream so easily through my Apple TV 4K. Now it has the high-end Ethernet uh, hooked up to my router. My PC is also on Ethernet, so I'm able to stream my PC gaming. It's better than using my ROG Ally for that. And I don't know why. That's very interesting. Maybe because the ROG Ally is more of a computer than a dedicated machine, right? Where the Apple TV 4K is probably more dedicated for streaming, So anyway, well, that's it. So I'm not too sure about this time. It was fun to see actually everyone in the chat. I really appreciate everyone that was here at this time. I don't know if tomorrow it's going to be the same time or a different time. I do know that if I was to maximize, I would do this at 11 Central. But, due to work and other things going on, that's why I'm just playing around. And with the holidays a little slower this week, I wanted to play around with the times. But all right, guys, I'm going to head out. That was a lot of fun. I'll be back tomorrow with some more. So until then, have a good one. See y'all.